Good morning. Let me ask you something. How do you start your day? Do you open your eyes, reach for your phone, scroll through social media, maybe snooze the alarm 2 or 3 times, and drag yourself out of bed? Already feeling behind? Or do you wake up with clarity, with power, with purpose, knowing this day is yours to command? Because make no mistake, how you start your day is how you live your life. The morning isn't just the beginning of a day, it's the launch pad for your destiny. It's the time when your mind is fresh, when your body is rested, when your spirit is open. And if you don't seize that time with intention, the world will steal it from you. Let's talk truth. Winners, leaders, peak performers, they don't leave their mornings to chance. They design them. They protect them. They dominate them. A powerful morning routine is not about adding more to your to-do list. It's about owning your time before the world starts pulling at you. It's about entering your day on offense, not defense. And I'm not talking about perfection. I'm talking about momentum. Because the moment you start your day with momentum, you become unstoppable. You don't wait to feel motivated. You move, and then motivation follows. So let me show you how to step into that power. Not someday, not next week, tomorrow morning. The first key is priming your body. Your energy is your life. If you're not moving, you're decaying. Your body is your emotional engine. Motion creates emotion. The second your feet hit the ground, move. It doesn't have to be an hour-long gym session. It could be 5 minutes of stretching, a set of jumping jacks, a short run, breath work, anything to tell your system, I'm awake, I'm alive, I'm here to win. Because when you move your body, you shift your biochemistry, you shift your state. And when you change your state, you change your life. Second, prime your mind. If you don't feed your mind something powerful in the morning, the world will feed it garbage by noon. Start your day with gratitude. Not because life is perfect, but because you are training your mind to focus on what's strong instead of what's wrong. Gratitude is the gateway to abundance. It kills fear. It smothers anger. You can't be grateful and fearful at the same time. Take 2 minutes. Think of 3 things you're deeply grateful for. Feel them, see them, breathe them in like they already happened. That moment will rewire your brain. Then visualize your day. Not as it might go, but as you want it to go. See yourself walking into that room with confidence. Picture yourself speaking with passion, hitting your goals, being calm under pressure. Because if you can see it, you can live it. You're programming your future before it arrives. Third, feed your soul. What you focus on first thing in the morning becomes your focus all day. So choose powerfully. Read something that makes you grow. Listen to a podcast that elevates you. Pray, meditate, journal, whatever makes you feel more you. Because if you don't center yourself, the noise of the world will pull you in 1,000 directions. This is your sacred space. You don't need hours, you just need intention. Now here's something most people miss. Your morning starts the night before. You can't stay up until 2 a.m. binging Netflix and expect to feel like a champion at 6 a.m. Your body isn't a machine, it's a miracle. Respect it, fuel it, rest it. Because when you wake up tired, you already lost the first battle of the day. So set yourself up to win. Wind down, put the phone away, read, reflect. Decide the 3 most important outcomes for tomorrow. before your head hits the pillow. When you wake up, you won't be wondering what to do. You'll already be in motion. Let's be real, most people don't have a morning routine. They have a morning reaction. They react to the alarm. They react to the news. They react to emails, to texts, to other people's demands. But you are not most people. You're here because there's something inside you that wants more. You want to grow, to lead, to love deeper, to become the version of yourself you were meant to be. And that version of you doesn't leave the start of their day to chance. That version of you commands the morning. Because when you start your day on your terms, the world bends to your energy, not the other way around. You walk differently, you speak differently, you respond differently, you stop playing small, you stop saying maybe someday, you start saying now. The morning routine is not a hack, it's not a trend, it's not a productivity gimmick. It is the foundation of your mindset. And mindset is everything. If you win the morning, you win the day. And if you win enough days, you win your life. So here's my challenge to you. Don't wait. Start tomorrow. Set your alarm 30 minutes earlier. Move your body. Prime your mind. Center your soul. Visualize your power. Lock in your outcomes. Own your morning like your life depends on it. Because it does. The time for excuses is over. You don't need more motivation. You need a decision. You don't need perfect conditions. You need commitment. Your morning is your mirror. It shows you who you are and who you're becoming. So rise with purpose, rise with power, and never again let another day begin without you behind the wheel. Let this be the first morning of the rest of your extraordinary life. How you start your day is how you live your life. It's not just a catchy phrase, it's a principle that shapes everything. The first few moments after you wake up are not small or insignificant. They're the foundation upon which your entire day is built. Every choice you make in those first minutes, every thought you allow into your mind, every action you take or fail to take is a message to yourself about how you're going to show up. If you begin your day in chaos, distracted, scattered, reactive, you carry that frequency into every meeting, every task, every conversation. But if you begin with clarity, with direction, with ownership, then you begin your life from a position of power. Most people think success is about big decisions, big moves, once-in-a-lifetime opportunities. But that's not how it works. Success is built in the small things, repeated consistently, and nothing is smaller or more consistent than the way you start your day. That's your reset point. That's your chance to decide again who you are, what you stand for, and how you want to live. It's not about perfection. It's not about waking up at 5 a.m. and crushing 10 things before breakfast. It's about being intentional. It's about starting the day by saying, I choose. That choice is where your freedom begins. Because here's the truth. When you wake up and immediately check your phone, look at notifications, scroll through other people's lives, you're starting your day by giving away your power. You're reacting to the world instead of creating your own. You're allowing outside forces to decide how you feel before you've even had a chance to think for yourself. And that small decision, that habit of reaction starts to shape your identity. You become someone who responds instead of initiates. Someone who waits for direction instead of creating it. Someone who's busy but not in control. But imagine if you flipped that. Imagine waking up and instead of reaching for your phone, you reach for your breath. You feel your heart beating, your lungs expanding, your body waking up with life. You sit in silence, even if only for 1 minute, and remind yourself who you are and what matters most today. You move your body, because you know energy doesn't come from caffeine, it comes from within. You speak something powerful out loud, something that sets your intention, that tells your brain what to look for, your emotions what to follow, your soul what to believe in. That's not routine, that's ritual. That's not habit, that's alignment. Because every morning you have two choices. Step into a version of you that's powerful, present, and prepared, or fall into the version that's distracted, anxious, and reactive. The difference isn't in how much time you have. Everyone has 24 hours. The difference is in how you start. Do you start grounded or scattered? Focused or foggy? Intentional or impulsive? That's not just the start of your day, that's the start of your life. It sets the emotional tone, the mental clarity, the physical readiness. You don't just wake up into a morning, you wake up into a state. And that state decides how you speak, how you act, how you treat others, how you face challenges. People talk about designing their dream life, setting big goals, achieving massive success. But you can't design a powerful life without designing a powerful morning. That's the entry point. That's where everything begins, because the way you do one thing is the way you do everything. And the way you do your morning is the way you do your life. Don't start your morning in reaction, start it with intention. The moment your eyes open in the morning, you're standing at a crossroads. One path is the path of reaction, the default route, the one most people unconsciously take. It's the path where the first thing you do is check your phone, open your inbox, get hit by a wave of notifications, demands, headlines, and comparisons. Before your feet even touch the floor, your mind is racing, your heart is anxious, and your focus is gone. You didn't choose your thoughts, your state, or your energy, you gave them away. That's what reaction does. It hands the keys of your day to everyone and everything outside of you. You lose control before the day even starts. But then there's the other path, intention. This path doesn't wait for the world to dictate how you feel or what you should do. It's about being deliberate from the moment you wake up. When you start your morning with intention, you take back your authority. You don't just wake up, you rise. You take a moment to pause before the noise begins. You breathe. You center yourself. You check in with who you are, where you're going, and what really matters. You don't allow the world to flood in until you have chosen how you want to show up in it. You become the author, not just a character reacting to someone else's story. Living with intention means your morning is designed, not default. You decide what rituals support your body, what thoughts support your mind, what actions support your future. Whether it's 5 minutes or 50, the power lies not in how long it takes, but in how consciously you do it. It could be silence, breath work, movement, prayer, gratitude, goal setting. The tools don't matter as much as the mindset. It's the difference between waking up and falling into the world versus rising into your own purpose. One leads to chaos, the other to clarity. One leaves you feeling behind, the other moves you ahead before the world even starts moving. Reaction makes you a slave to circumstances. Intention makes you a master of them. Most people spend their mornings catching up, rushing, feeling scattered and stressed. That feeling doesn't just stay in the morning, it follows them into every task, every conversation, every interaction. It becomes the undercurrent of their entire day. And over time, that day becomes a habit. That habit becomes a life. All because they never stop to claim those first minutes with purpose. But when you start your morning with intention, you create space to lead yourself before you lead others. You align your focus, your energy, your direction. You remind yourself that you are not your notifications. You are not the algorithm. You are not other people's emergencies. You are a creator of experience, not a prisoner of circumstance. That kind of start doesn't just make your morning better, it makes you better. Your thoughts are clearer. Your decisions are stronger. Your interactions have more depth. Your presence becomes more powerful. The world is not going to slow down for you. The noise isn't going away. The demands aren't stopping. But you don't need the world to change. You need to choose differently. And that choice begins in the morning. It begins the moment you decide that the first few minutes of your day are yours. And you will guard them fiercely. You will protect your peace, set your focus, and step into your day like it belongs to you, because it does. Motion creates emotion. Move your body, shift your state. The fastest way to change how you feel is to change how you move. Your body isn't just something that carries you through the day. It's the engine of your emotions, the power source behind your mindset, and the secret weapon to unlocking energy, confidence, and focus. When you move with strength, you think with strength. When you breathe with purpose, you act with purpose. And when you sit in stillness too long, your energy dims, your clarity fades, and your drive slows down. The body and mind are not separate. They are connected in every way. Your physiology shapes your psychology. That's why movement is not just exercise, it's activation. It's a trigger that tells your system, I'm alive, I'm awake, I'm in control. So many people try to change their mindset while staying still. They sit down trying to think their way into motivation, trying to force confidence through thoughts alone. But thought alone is weak when it's not supported by physical momentum, because the state you're in determines the thoughts you're able to access. If you're slouched, breathing shallow, moving slow, your mind is going to mirror that. Negative thoughts become easier. Doubt becomes louder. But the moment you stand tall, roll your shoulders back, breathe deeply, move your arms, stretch your body, or go for a run, everything shifts. Your posture signals power. Your breath signals presence. Your movement signals progress. That's why the most powerful way to start your day is not by diving into your phone or your inbox. It's by activating your body. You don't need to do an hour-long workout. You don't need a gym membership. What you need is intensity and intention. It could be 10 jumping jacks, a burst of push-ups, shaking your arms out, dancing to a song that gets your energy up. It doesn't matter what it looks like, it matters what it does to your state. When your blood flows, your energy flows. When your heart rate rises, your motivation rises with it. That's not coincidence, it's biology. This is why elite performers across every field move their bodies before they move into performance. Athletes warm up not just their muscles, but their minds. Speakers get their body in rhythm before they speak. Entrepreneurs know that without energy, strategy means nothing. Because when you take control of your state through motion, you access a part of you that's hard to reach when you're idle. That part of you that's decisive, driven, focused, inspired. It's not buried somewhere inside, it's just sleeping. And motion is how you wake it up. Even if you're tired, even if you didn't sleep well, even if the day ahead looks overwhelming, motion gives you a head start. You don't wait to feel ready. You don't wait to feel confident. You move, and then those feelings follow. You're training your nervous system to respond to challenge with power, not hesitation. You're conditioning your mind to associate movement with momentum, not resistance. And that physical anchor becomes your reset switch. Anytime during the day when things feel off, when your focus dips or your emotions feel stuck, move again. Shift your state, and your perspective will shift with it. The body remembers. The body holds patterns. If you teach it to stay still in stress, to freeze in fear, to shut down under pressure, it will obey. But if you teach it to move in the face of challenge, to rise when it's hard, to breathe through tension, to stand tall when things feel heavy, it will become your ally. It will become your foundation. Because the real power isn't in the movement itself. It's in the message that movement sends. The message that says, I choose how I feel. I choose how I show up. I choose to lead my life. Gratitude is the antidote to fear and the fuel for abundance. In a world that constantly bombards us with what's missing, what's wrong, what's not enough, gratitude is the choice to focus on what's already right. It's not denial of reality, it's the redirection of attention. Whatever you consistently focus on, you feel. If you focus on problems, you'll feel overwhelmed. If you focus on lack, you'll feel scarcity. If you focus on everything that could go wrong, your body will respond with stress. But when you focus on what you already have, on the gifts in your life, no matter how small, you immediately shift into a state of appreciation. And in that state, your heart softens, your mind opens, and your nervous system relaxes. It's not just a positive feeling, it's a state of power. Gratitude and fear cannot exist in the same emotional space. One cancels the other. When you are deeply grateful, fear dissolves, because fear thrives on uncertainty, on future pain, on imagined loss. Gratitude is rooted in now. It anchors you in the present moment and reminds you that no matter what's happening, there is still something to celebrate, something to acknowledge, something to value. That shift is not small, it's transformational. It takes you from scarcity to sufficiency, from anxiety to trust, from resistance to flow. Abundance doesn't begin with more money, more things, or more status. Abundance begins with gratitude. When you learn to see the richness in what you already have, you stop chasing happiness and start creating it. You realize that success is not something out there, it's a state of being. A state where you can recognize the miracle of breathing, the power of choice, the beauty of growth, the relationships that support you. When you live in that state, you attract more of what you appreciate, because the energy you bring into the world becomes the energy that reflects back to you. Gratitude is also one of the most powerful tools you can use to prime your morning. It centers your focus on what matters. It softens your inner dialogue. It sets a tone of grace instead of pressure. And it doesn't take hours. Just 2 or 3 minutes of intentional gratitude in the morning can change the emotional chemistry of your entire day. When you wake up and list 3 things you're truly grateful for, not just as a routine, but as a feeling, your brain begins to rewire. You start seeking possibility instead of danger. You start leading from appreciation instead of expectation, even in your hardest seasons, even when things feel uncertain or heavy. Gratitude gives you strength, because it reminds you that you've made it through storms before, that you're still breathing, that you still have the ability to choose how you respond. And that reminder creates resilience, it creates space, gives you access to inner peace, even when the world outside is spinning. That's the kind of strength you can't buy, can't fake, and can't lose. It's built every day, one grateful breath at a time. Gratitude is also contagious. When you live with it, speak from it, act through it, other people feel it. It changes how you show up in your relationships, in your work, in your leadership. It shifts your energy from taking to giving, from expecting to appreciating, from self-focus to connection. And in that shift, you become magnetic. People are drawn to presence. They are drawn to energy that feels grounded, generous, alive. Gratitude creates that energy. It opens your heart. It lifts your spirit. It elevates your standard. Not because everything is perfect, but because you've decided to see it through a different lens. Win the morning, win the day. Win enough days, win your life. It all starts with that first victory, that first hour, that first decision you make when you rise. Mornings are more than just a time of day. They're a symbol of renewal, of fresh starts, of untapped potential, waiting to be claimed. And how you approach those early hours sets the trajectory for everything that follows. The person who begins their day with purpose, with clarity, with movement, and with control is not just ahead of schedule, they're ahead of life because they've stepped into the driver's seat while most are still asleep at the wheel. Each morning is an opportunity to create momentum, and momentum is the force that turns small actions into massive results. The truth is, success is never about one big move. It's about stacking wins, tiny, often unseen wins that compound over time. Waking up when you said you would, making your bed when no one's watching, moving your body, feeding your mind, aligning your goals. These might seem like minor victories, but they're the bricks that build your character. You don't become disciplined in one leap. You become disciplined by choosing to win the morning again and again. When you start strong, you build a psychological edge. That sense of progress, that feeling of being in motion, changes how you handle challenges. When you're setting up a goal, set extreme deadlines that when you hit them, you feel like you hit. When you start strong, you build a psychological edge. That sense of success makes the deadlines higher. You scheme. When you hit them, you fail. You fail. When you meet stress with focus. You face resistance with confidence. You enter the day on offense instead of defense. While others are scrambling to catch up, you're already creating, leading, executing. And it's not about comparing yourself to anyone else. It's about honoring your own standard. Setting the tone for who you are and who you're becoming. The discipline to own your morning transfers into how you lead meetings, how you treat others, how you pursue your goals, and how you respond when life throws the unexpected. Because life doesn't wait till you're ready. It comes at you fast. And if you're not anchored, not grounded, not aligned, you'll get pulled into the noise. But if you've already centered yourself, already moved your body, already fed your mind, you'll meet the day with clarity. You'll meet the day with clarity. You'll meet the day with clarity. You don't just react, you respond. You don't just manage time, you command it. That kind of leadership doesn't come from hoping the day goes well. It comes from deciding how you're going to show up before the day even begins. Winning the morning isn't about a perfect routine. It's not about ticking boxes. It's about intention. It's about reclaiming those first moments and saying, this is my time. This is where I get aligned with what matters. This is where I charge myself with the energy and mindset that I want to bring into every room I walk into. And once you experience that level of ownership, it's hard to go back. You begin to crave that clarity, that structure, that quiet fire that comes from keeping a promise to yourself before anyone else even knows you're awake. Win enough mornings, and the results become the confidence compounds, the focus sharpens, the standard rises. You start living with momentum instead of waiting for motivation. You begin building a life that reflects consistency instead of chaos. Because the truth is, greatness doesn't come from one breakthrough moment. It comes from the daily decision to win the invisible battles, the ones no one claps for, the ones that happen when it's still dark outside, the ones that define the direction of your life one morning at a time.